What's going on, guys? Today we're gonna talk about MISP. MISP stands for, guess what? First, malware. Malware. I stands for information. S stands for sharing. And P stands for platform. So first, we're gonna talk about MISP, okay, and we will pivot through three aspects of MISP. The first thing, we're gonna talk about the definition, use cases, and features. So how do we define MISP, or malware info sharing platform? The first thing to know about MISP is that MISP is type of threat intelligence platform. It's type of threat intelligence, in that it is actually tailored towards gaining information or collection, storage, and distribution of threat information related to malwares. So it is only for malwares. So when you conduct threat intelligence, normally you would go to threat intelligence platforms and look through indicators of compromise related to current cyber attacks or past cyber attacks, investigate the indicators of compromise, the threat actors, the APTs using ATT and CK, or the MITRE framework. But in MISP case, we are only interested in collecting, storing, and distributing information or indicators of compromise related to malware or malwares. So that is how we define the MISP. Now, let's now talk about the use cases of MISP. So why do we use MISPs, or malware information sharing platforms? The first thing, we use it to, let's drag, or let me remove this one. Okay, so let's take an arrow like that. Okay, first one here is the first use case. The first use case is in reverse engineering. So how do we use MISPs in reverse engineering? So basically, we actually share information, or we share indicators of compromise to understand how different malware families function. So by sharing information or intelligence about a malware, this would aid in reverse engineering. Now the next use case is in actually security investigations. So how do we use MISPs in security investigations? Basically, we search, validate, and use indicators in investigating security breaches. So when we publish an event or indicator of compromise related to malware, okay, and when we have a current security investigation about cyber attack, we may resort to MISPs to find related information about different families of malwares and an indicator of compromise to aid in the security investigation. Next thing is intelligence analysis. So in intelligence analysis, what do we do here? We gather information about adversary groups and their capabilities, much like if you remember the MITRE framework. So in MITRE framework, we actually study the TTPs, tactics, techniques, and procedures. We look into the techniques and tactics used by adversary groups, and we categorize them according to the procedure, the technique, and also according to the adversary group. Similarly, we do that in MISPs, but for malwares. So what else? Reverse engineering, security investigations, and intelligence analysis. We also use that sometimes in risk analysis. So let me remove this one. Okay, so in risk analysis. So how do we use MISPs in risk analysis? So basically, we research new threats, their likelihood and their occurrences by actually using MISPs and looking through the different families of malwares. We can actually aid ourselves in conducting risk analysis and understand the likelihood of the occurrences of such malware attacks in the current organization. All right, so now let's look about the features of the MISPs. So what are the features of MISPs? Normally, MISPs contain something called, the first thing is IOC database. So, or indicators of compromise database. This would allow the storage of technical and non-technical information about malware samples, incidents, and intelligence. So whenever we discover malware, we publish information about the malware, and the information such as indicators of compromise, attachments, malware samples are stored in the MISP in what's called the indicators of compromise database. Okay, the next feature is data sharing. So this is the core or the essence of MISPs, data sharing. So basically, this would allow for sharing information that we created or we discovered between different communities or different organizations using different models of distributions and among different MISP instances. So MISP are divided by instance. So when we will see now in the practical scenario of this video, we can work on one instance, and when we store information in the IOC database, we can share the information with communities or organizations in the same instance or across all instances, meaning that across all installations of the MISPs. Okay, these are some of the features of MISP. Now, let's jump to the dashboard and take a look at the interface. So this is one instance of an MISP, and it belongs to TryHackMe website. We're going to walk you through the room after I finish the practical scenario here. So the first thing to note in the interface is that we have this view. This view contains the live events that have been registered in the MISP by the analysts. So every event here contains information or unique information about specific family of malware, as you can see here, and they are divided by the creator, who is the creator, and tags, clusters, the ID, etc., and the information about the malware. So basically these are, or the feed here is actually divided between events created by local analysts in your team on this instance, or analysts who actually work on different instances, but they decided to share the information with all the instances or across all of the installations of the MISPs. So it would show up here. Even though the creator is not part of your organization, it would show up here because there is a feed from which all of the details actually are pulled through all instances of MISP or malware information sharing platform. Okay, so that's the live feed here. Now, as you can see, we have two important tabs. The first thing is the event action, and we have here the input filters. So we're going to talk about these now. Now, in the event actions, it's where, as an analyst, you will create malware investigation correlations. So basically, you will start by adding an event. If you have discovered malware during a security investigation and you would like to share indicators of compromise, attributes, and intelligence about the malware, you would go ahead and go to event actions, add an event. So in adding an event here, we select to add different kind of information about the event. The first thing to notice here is that the distribution. As you can see, distribution controls how the information is shared between different organizations or communities. So let's talk about these. The first thing, your organization only, means that only members of the current organization will be able to see the event or the information about the malware, meaning that only the organization which has the current MISP installed on all devices of the analysts. So that is your organization only. This community only, this means users that are part of your MISP community. You can create communities and you can actually add analysts to the community even though they are not part of your organization. So this community only means users that are part of your MISP community will be able to see the event. This includes, of course, the organization itself and organizations on the MISP server and organizations running MISP servers that synchronize with this server. And third, so we have connected communities. So connected communities comprise users who are part of your MISP community as well. The same thing as this one. They will be able to see the event or the information about the malware, including all organizations on this MISP server, the current instance, all organizations on MISP servers, other servers that they are synchronizing with your server. So you can enable synchronization between your MISP server here and other MISP servers belonging to other communities. All communities here, it's kind of public. This will share the event with all MISP communities, allowing the event to be freely propagated from one server to the next. So when we install a MISP here, okay, on an IP address, we actually host an MISP server. And when we create a community and add people to the community from our organization or different organizations, we actually share information between different communities. That's how the sharing works. Okay, analysis, you describe the kind of analysis, if it is initial, ongoing, or completed. The threat level, how did you rate the severity of the malware? Accordingly, you would select the threat level. So let's take an example. Event information here, you can add description about the event, such as, let's add stuckness or test. Let me add test event here, test malware. Okay. Let's say this organization only and click on submit. Okay, now when we submit the information as an analyst, the information about the malware won't be published unless the admin approves it. The admin will review and approve the information or the entry you have just created. You will see a summary of the information you have created, including the user, the instance, or the current organization, the event ID, how the distribution, as you can see, and the information about the malware. Now that's not everything. We're going to need to add attributes. So basically, we go to the left side and add attributes. So by adding attributes, we actually give more details about the malware. So first thing, we have the category. We can select from the different categories here according to the context and according to the security investigation as well. So basically, let's say you have discovered the malware during an antivirus detection. So basically, the antivirus has detected that you have a malware on your system. So we can select the category as antivirus detection. Type, here you see, is it link, comment, text, hex, attachment? How we're gonna add the IOCs about the malware? Are you gonna add attachment or hex value, text value, link to the malware, or anonymized? Now also you can select here network activity. It's actually more commonly than antivirus detection. In network activity, you will have the ability to add IOCs such as the source IP, destination IP, domain. Now most malwares actually, they connect to C and C server, which means there will be information about the source, the IP destination, and the domain name as part of the IOCs. So basically, let's say we want to add indicators of compromise such as the destination IP address. Here we add, let's say 1 or 10, 10, 10, 10. This would describe the destination IP address to which the malware was connecting. And it would actually describe a C2C server. Okay. You can also add, by the way, hashes. You can add more than one attribute, not only one attribute, more than one attribute is allowed. You can give contextual comment about the IP. You can say C2 IP. Okay, now we have two interesting options here. The first one, for intrusion detection system. It means it make the attribute here exportable to be used as an ITS signature. So basically, if you select this option, you're going to be able to export this IOC to a format that would be ingestible by an IDS that you have, such as Snort, Splunk, and other, no, not Splunk, another IPS or IDS that you have on your organization, you can export or make the attribute ingestible by the IDS so that it will be added to the signatures. Now, patch import allows you to join multiple attributes of the same type. So say that you have multiple IP destinations. Okay, what you're going to do here, you're going to add them one by one, separated by line breaks. 10, 10, 10, 11, 10, 10, 10, 12. And you're going to say patch import. This actually will join all of these in one attribute. For now, I'm going to deselect this one and select only this. First seen date. When did you first discover the malware? You're gonna put the date here. So let's say today. And then you will submit this. So now we have added attributes to the event. Next thing we can do or we can add is adding attachments. So adding attachments would provide the opportunity to add the malware samples. If you have the sample itself, you can add it here. Of course, when you have malware sample, you select is a malware sample so that the MISP would actually zip the malware and protect it by password so no one would accidentally click on your malware. So category payload delivery, the category of the sample. Okay, so we're going to say payload and installation and distribution organization only. Contextual information, say malware sample or payload sample. Here you're gonna browse, we're gonna select dummy data now, for now. Let's see here, what do we have? This will do it. All right. Now, if you scroll down, as you can see, we can see the different details that we have just added. As you can see, the malware sample, and this is the hash. If you scroll down, we can see other attributes such as the IP destination. From here, you can edit that, by the way, after you add it. Now, other stuff we can add to the intelligence here. We can add tags. So basically, from the tags here, we can add attributes to the event. For example, when we add tags, or we can add tags to the event and its attributes, you can actually identify them based on IOCs and threat information, which makes sharing effective between users, organizations, and communities. So basically, I can add my own tags, or I can add tags distributed by other users. As you can see, we have ready tags from here. So I'm going to type here IOC. This is an IOC tag. Oops, didn't select. Taxonomy, these are taxonomies. Okay. Tags collection. If there is nothing found, we can actually add our own tag. So we can add malware test. Add a custom tags. Okay, so here we go. Here we have the different tags registered on the system. We can select from these tags to make actually sharing information effective and to make the categorization more efficient as well. So we can select ransomware, for example. Now you can add your own tags. For example, test tag. See that we don't have the permission to add our own tags. We can only add from the list. Okay, malware emitted, submit, and here we have the tag. We can add more tags, by the way. All tags, submit. So that's how we add the tags. Now after everything is completed, we can go ahead and publish the event. Click on publish. Not allowed. As you can see, not allowed, since we are not administrator on the system. Now the admin will be able to see will be able to see the entry here, and after reviewing the entry, they will be able to approve. They will be able to approve the entry, and it will appear in the event list here. Okay, so that is in a nutshell how it works. You can experience. We can also create dashboards from here. Create widgets, add widgets. We're gonna go through that because it is actually one of the features that you can discover on your own. Now, most importantly is to know how to work with the events and how to create intelligence or malware intelligence. All right, so now we have a sample room from TryHackMe that lays down some questions which, if we answer, we can test our knowledge regarding this subject. Okay, so let's take this here. All right, so we have a scenario event. CIRCL, or Computer Incident Response Center Luxembourg, published an event associated with PuppyRat infection. Your organization is on alert for remote access Trojans and malware in the wild, and you have been tasked to investigate this event and correlate details with your SIEM. Use what we have learned from the room to identify the event and complete this task. So we have received a new alert from an organization that they have discovered PuppyRat. So this new discovery, if we investigate the discovery, we will be able to collect the information and feed it to the current SIEM we use. Okay. This would enable the SIEM to alert you once the PuppyRat infects your network, by the way. All right, so what event ID has been assigned to the PuppyRat event? Okay, so let's see here. Okay, so let's search now for PuppyRat. We can go to the search box and type PuppyRat. All right, so once we finish searching, as you can see, we have one result. OSINT Iranian PuppyRat bites Middle Eastern organization. So that is the malware intelligence we have discovered, or the event we have discovered by doing quick search. So what event ID has been assigned to the PuppyRat event? Going back, this is the event ID. Now, the event is associated with the adversary gaining what into organizations. So here we want to find what kind of access, okay, or we're looking for attributes or tags regarding this malware. So the tags here describe the objective of the malware. It can describe the objective of the malware. It helps actually in describing the objective of the malware, or you can scroll down and look at the galaxies from here. But the answer is found here, as you can see. It said remote access tool, remote access, and it's pretty much clear from the question that it is asking about the kind of access, so it is remote access. What IP address has been mapped as the PuppyRat C2 server? Now here we talk about the IOCs. We're going to scroll down and find the IOCs. So we have domains, we have IPs, but we want to find the C2 server. So we're going to scroll all the way down. So we have two entries for IP destination. It doesn't necessarily mean, as you can see the description here, PuppyRat command and control server. So this is the C2 server. From the intrusion, set galaxy. What attack group is known to use this form of attack? Now we can scroll up, and from the galaxy here, we can find information about the attack group. So the galaxy is used for this purpose, to describe actual information about the attack group, the adversary, the techniques, or the techniques. So you can see here that the Magic Hound is an espionage campaign operating primarily in the Middle East that dates back to at least mid-2016. So it's Magic Hound, and there is a taxonomy tag set with a certainty level of 50. Which one is it? You're going to need to find the taxonomies here. So we're going to scroll down and look for this taxonomy. It's up in the tags, I guess. So here, from the tags, we can also find the taxonomies. So I have one taxonomy set here where the certainty, or it's actually OCNT, and the certainty equal to 50. So that would correspond, or that would answer the question here. I hope you guys found this informative and helpful. I hope you learned something new, and I will see you in the next video.